Thank you so much. Rewind. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. My name is Bradley Convis, and also known as Yeldarb Sivnak to those who know me well. And our mission here at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. If you're a newcomer or visitor to our congregation, please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill. There you can receive more information about our congregation and sign up to receive our weekly email newsletter. If you're joining us online today, welcome. Please say hello or good morning in the comments there on Facebook or YouTube so that we can greet you and extend a warm welcome to you as well. Today's service, it's a special one. It's called Butterflies and Dandelions, My Own Coming of Age. This is being led by our very own Jen McLaughlin. She will be reflecting on the last decade of service, a decade, her service to Sunnyhill, and on her own spiritual path and spiritual awakening, which is grounded in the resilience and interdependence found in the natural world. Jen took on the role of Director of Religious Education in July of 2012 and has a degree from the College of Charleston in Religious Studies. There she was granted a Humanities and Social Science Scholar Award as well as Outstanding Student of Religious Studies. Did you know that? She is also the mother of two wonderful children, Jack and Benjamin, who are 11 and 8, and has been married to her best friend in the whole world, Jimmy, for 12 years. During her time at Sunnyhill, she has co-organized social action efforts like the Women's March with Bethany Thornton, managed the Sunnyhill website and database, created hundreds of graphics like the social media service announcements, and while she was at it, she also brought UU religious education to the Sunnyhill children in all her spare time and all the youth. She's excited once again to be sharing a sermon with you all this morning. Our opening words today were written by Andrew Paluca. We arrive together here, travelers on life's journey, seekers of meaning, of love, of healing, of justice, of truth. The journey is long, and joy and woe accompany us at every step. None is born that does not die. None feels pleasure that does not also feel pain. The tear has not dried on the cheek, but the lips curve sweetly in a smile. Numerous are our origins, our paths, our destinations. And yet, happily, our ways have joined together here today. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, may our joining be a blessing. May it bring comfort to those who are in pain. May it bring hope to those who are in despair. May it bring peace to those who tremble in fear. May it bring wisdom and guidance for our journeys. And through this journey, may we be, just for a moment in time. The moment is all we can ever be certain of. May we embrace this and every instance of our lives. Jack, you want to help me with lighting the chalice? Please join us in saying the words for lighting our chalice. We light this chalice for the web of life which sustains us, for the sacred circle of life in which we have our being, for the earth and the sky above and below, for our Mother Earth, and for the mystery. Thank you, Jack. And I'm interrupting our regularly scheduled program for an emergency announcement from Dolph Armstrong, also known as John.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. When Reverend Jim began his sabbatical, he said we would only hear from him on matters of great importance. Because he cannot be with us today to speak directly with the congregation about such a matter, he sent a letter and asked that someone put on their Reverend Jim hat and read it. Since I actually have a Reverend Jim hat, that honor has fallen to me. But before I begin, will Jean Lofgren, our board president, please come up to the stage? And Jen, could you please join me at the lectern? Okay, as we already know, Jen celebrated 10 years as our Director of Religious Education on July 4th. She uses that date because on July 4th, she received a call from Reverend Jay Abernathy, our interim minister, telling her that she got the job. On July 5th, Jen wrote this note to Denny McCracken, and Jen, I hope you don't mind me sharing it. Denny, I got the call last night from Jay, and I have been all smiles ever since. I am very excited for this new chapter, and I cannot wait to get started. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Each sentence was punctuated with an exclamation point. For today's celebration, Reverend Jim writes, "Working with Jen is an absolute joy and delight. She is hardworking, focused, and a great team player who is willing to do whatever needs to be done on behalf of the congregation. In her role as our religious educator, she has taken our RE program to a new level, not just in terms of learning, but also in terms of connecting families to one another and to the congregation as a whole. Sunnyhill is a brighter place because of Jen. Her work and her reputation extend beyond Sunnyhill into the greater UU universe. When she started here 10 years ago, Jen was the new kid on the block among the UU religious educators in our area. But she is now the experienced veteran on whom others in her peer group rely for advice, wisdom, and support. Jen is a true religious professional who understands both the religious and the professional aspects of her role. In the religious sense, she helps reconnect people with their deepest values, with one another, and with a sense of being part of something greater than themselves alone. In the professional sense, she understands boundaries and accountability and can be counted on to do the right thing, even if it is not the easy thing. In recent years, Jen has become an important leader for social justice, not just among children and youth, but for everyone in the congregation and for UUs in the greater Pittsburgh area. Her passion for justice, her energy, and her organizing skills have already made a difference to our church, our community, and our denomination. Thank you, Jen, for your tireless efforts to help make our congregation truly the church of the open mind, helping hand, and loving heart. Signed, Reverend Jim McGaugh.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to share a few things from the board. There's so much you can say about Jen, so I'm just going to focus on two things. One's her versatility, and then the other one is her dedication. In terms of versatility, I'm going to use Brad Convis's words because he just summed it up perfectly. He said, "I'd like to recognize Jen's unfailing positive attitude about things that are really not in her job. You are a proactive problem solver, actively contributing to team member, and you have a great attitude. You see something that needs attention and you go for it. I cannot count the number of things that you have volunteered for that really have no bearing on religious education, but they benefit the congregation. You have the skills, and it's the right thing to do, so you just jump right in. You're the kind of person we want in leadership, and I am so grateful that we get to work with you. And then the other thing I'd like to share about Jen is her dedication. We saw in the last 5 years our RE registration numbers tripled. They went up to well over 100, and then the pandemic hit, and we saw them shrink down to single digits. And it didn't matter whether there was one young heart that was listening or 100 young hearts that were listening. Jen, you put the same level of dedication into the RE program, and we are so grateful and appreciative of that. It's very inspiring. And so I just want to say we're incredibly lucky to have you, and the fact that you're sharing your time and your many talents and your leadership and friendship with us. So, thank you.
Let's give her a standing ovation. Please rise and embody your spirit to honor Jen. And please join in singing our opening hymn. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river, yeah. Ready?
Strength Good morning. If there are any kiddos present, would you please come and join us up at the front, and you can have a seat right over here on these steps. Come on up if you'd like. Come on up. Look at these sweet little angels. Wow, so good to see you all today. There's plenty of room. All right.
Well, good morning, guys. How many of you like to go out for hikes? You like to go hiking? Yeah? I do too. There are a couple of my favorite walks are right nearby. I walk around in the woods in South Park, and I also enjoy walking along the river in Southside Riverfront Park.
Some of my favorites are the Seldom Seen Greenway in Beachview or the Grandview Trail in Mount Washington. It's so cool that we have these lush green spaces right in the city of Pittsburgh. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And if I don't want to go for a drive to one of those places, sometimes I just walk around my neighborhood. I take my doggie out, go for a loop.
I love going for walks too. I usually try to bring my kids along with me. We love going in the springtime when it's just starting to get warm. We love looking for signs of spring, like flower bulbs sprouting or the trees showing their first buds for the year. What I've learned from walking with children, especially when they were very little, was to slow down. Mm-hmm. There's so much you miss if you're trying to hustle your way through a walk or through life.
So true. A walk in the woods isn't a race, after all. It's not about seeing how fast you can go or how quickly you get to the end of the trail. A walk can be like a meditation. It's a series of moments to be aware of all the sights and sounds along the way. If you're in too big of a hurry, you forget to hear the birds singing. You might not see that little mushroom growing under the tree, the one with the cool little yellow cap on it.
But even when you take your time, a walk can sometimes be tough going. What if it starts to rain? And what if there's a wet, soggy, boggy place where the stepping stones are few and far between? Well, in those cases, I found that a couple of things can help. First of all, it helps to have a friend or two along, because then, even when it starts to pour and the raindrops are trickling down your nose, you can always sing a song together, and it's hard to feel sorry for yourself when you're singing an old Beatles song. And for those soggy, boggy places, if you can't have a friend along, there's nothing like a walking stick, which helps you find your balance. And whether you're walking up a hill or down, it makes you a little bit steadier on your legs.
Yeah, and just in case, it provides protection from lions, tigers, and bears.
Oh my.
Walking sticks make me think about our faith, Unitarian Universalism, which is a little different from other religions. Because for us, life is like a long walk or a journey. It starts when we're little children and just learning about our world, and then it grows as we grow. With each step, we're always gathering more information and gaining more experiences, finding out about ourselves and others as we explore our beliefs. As we explore, our beliefs change. The things we imagine might be true when we're 6 are quite a bit different when you're 60, right? And none of us is certain exactly where we're going, how the trail ends, and what we might find when we reach that mountain in the distance. But we know that other people have walked this way before us, and that gives us hope and courage to continue on the adventure.
Now, just like on a long trail, life sometimes gets tough and can even be scary. And that's why it helps to have friends and a spiritual community like this one. Particularly when we lose our balance and begin to fall down. And then it's handy to have a walking stick along. Unitarian Universalism, our religion, is like a walking stick.
It's not a religion that solves all our problems. It's not a religion that magically lifts us up over the muddy places. And it's not a religion that spares us the necessity to dig deep and struggle when there's a big boulder we have to climb over or other challenges we come upon. but it is a religion that can help us keep our equilibrium. It helps us keep our feet on the ground. It reminds us when the going gets hard, each of us is strong, right? Are we strong? Each of us is resilient. Each of us is capable. However we identify our gender, our ethnicity, our race, whether we're big or small or somewhere in between.
And Unitarian Universalism is a faith that encourages each one of us to find and make our own beliefs. Not a one-size-fits-all religion, but one we constantly tool and retool as we go. So this is my personal walking stick. I call him Stick Daddy.
And I feel like Gandalf the Great up here, but this is my walking stick, and we encourage each of you to go out and find your own walking stick. Take a walk and find a stick that's special just for you, that's your size, your weight, you're comfortable with it. And that way, you've got a firm grip on that walking stick wherever you go, and it'll help you. And as Unitarian Universalists, you have the opportunity to determine your own spiritual path. Sunnyhill will always be there to help guide you.
And with that, we will sing the Children to RE downstairs to As You Go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go.
Good morning. Each week at this time in the service, we share joys and sorrows submitted by members of the congregation. We share the things that we are celebrating as well as the things that we are mourning, so that they do not need to be held alone. Joys and sorrows may be submitted online from our website. After each joy, I have 3 of them today that I read. Please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." The first joy is from Richard Geiger. One of our members, Richard Geiger, has succeeded in publishing an ebook. It is entitled Social Justice, a Political Philosophy for Progressives. We can help start a national conversation about social justice prior to November by purchasing his book online. To Richard, we hold you in our hearts. A joy submitted by Joe Shaughnessy. I just want to thank John Armstrong and his family, Mary Pratt, Carol, Buddy, Julia, and everyone involved with the service last week. You had me in tears, John. Me too. You are such a brave guy. I'm proud to call you my unofficially adopted uncle. Lastly, I want to thank Erin Nath for her amazing ear and skills as part of the AV team. To Joe, John, Mary, Carol, Buddy, Julia, Erin, we hold you in our hearts. And a joy from Joe Barker. On this Tuesday, July 19th, Richard and I will celebrate our 9th wedding anniversary, thanks to the state of Maryland. We have been together 42 years, and each day I marvel at being married and hope this right is protected for the future. To Joe and Richard, we hold you in our hearts. Let us bear in mind all these joys and sorrows, as well as those that are held too closely to be shared.
I invite you to join me in this time of prayer, meditation, or reflection. I encourage you to be fully present here and now in this sacred time and space with ourselves, with each other, and with that is larger than ourselves. This is written by John Saxton. It's called Part of a Larger Life. Source of all life, all love, all hope, known by many names and in many ways. We don't know who or what you are, even whether you can be called a who or a what. Our words fail us. Our minds fail us as we ponder the enormity, diversity, complexity, wonder, and beauty of the universe and our world. And yet, we sense, more than know, that our lives are part of a larger life, that we are indeed connected with everyone and everything in an interdependent web of being, and that there is something both immanent and transcendent that nurtures and sustains our lives and life itself. Something that calls us and all life to greater wholeness and harmony. We give thanks for all the gifts and blessings of life, for this day, for the beauty and wonder and mystery of life, for our families and friends, for health and work, for opportunities to learn and love and grow, for the love and support of others in times of illness and despair. But we remember, too, that others here in this room, in this city, and all around the world live in poverty, hunger, fear, illness, isolation, violence, and economic insecurity. In the silence of this room and in the silence of our hearts, may we hear the call to a wider perspective and a deeper resolve. May we live with greater compassion and care for ourselves, others, and creation. May we touch each other more deeply, hear each other more clearly, see each other's joys and sorrows as our own. May we strive to be and become more than we are, more loving, more forgiving, more kind, more honest, more open, more connected, more whole. May we heal and be healed. May we face the uncertainties and tragedies of life with hope, faith, and courage, knowing that life is good and that we are not alone. And in these moments of silence, may our hearts speak silently all the prayers of our lives, our soul's greatest joys and deepest sorrows, our triumphs and failures, our regrets and fears, our disappointments and losses, our hopes and dreams. May it be so. Amen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirs of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life a shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of love, come unto me. Deep in my soul, all the mystery of creation. Teach me to care. Peace let there be. Lead me to truth, showing forth the paths of wisdom. Words hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of love, come to me, come to me.
First off, thank you so much to all the musicians who helped bring the sermon to life this morning, including the ones yet to come. and of course to the many folks who collaborated and assisted in helping me find the right words, particularly to John Armstrong. His feedback was so helpful. And don't get me started on how perfectly aligned the chairs are this morning. Chef's kiss. You are all such a gift. Since I was a child, I've been fascinated with butterflies. Not only are they beautiful and unique, but they're a metaphor for transformation and growth. I remember being particularly drawn to them as a teen and young adult because they were a reminder of a message that I needed at that time, which was that yesterday was the past and that tomorrow is an opportunity. My formative years were full of mixed signals and confusing messages about who I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to live my life. I was raised Catholic, though we only tended to show up to church on Christmas Eve and Easter. Some of my earliest memories are from memorizing the Apostle and Nicene creeds in my Catholic elementary school. I remember preparing for my first Holy Communion by confessing my sins to Father Vallone at St. Mary of the Mount Catholic Church for the first time. I remember making up sins on the spot because I was 8 and I was a pretty good kid. I was more concerned with not getting into trouble than pretty much anything else. I would say things like, "I hit my sister," which I would never actually do, just to get out of that box. I recall asking my school teachers, some of whom were nuns, questions like, who made God? Why do bad things happen to good people? What happens if a baby dies before they are baptized? Do they make it into heaven? And what about the people who just haven't heard about Jesus? Do they go to hell too? My incessant questions were treated as a nuisance. I recall being told to just not ask those kinds of questions. My Catholic upbringing instilled in me that I should not ask questions. Prayer was about memorizing words, and that church was about going through certain motions. By the time I was a teenager, I found myself searching for love, to be wanted, to be worthy. I tried to escape those feelings through various risky behaviors. I had so many questions still in my head. Questions about God, about life, about death, about suffering, about love. The answers that my family, friends, community, and society were offering weren't affirming and weren't helpful. And once I moved to South Carolina, those answers often started and ended with, "You should probably go to church." I had friends try to save me more times than I can count. Some were successful for small periods of time at convincing me that accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior was my path. I'm not here to say that that path is wrong. It's just not mine to walk. I was fascinated with the academic study of religion, however, and chose that as my focus while at College of Charleston, C of C. Though the more I read, the more I saw the harm caused by churches or in the name of faith. I saw all organized religion as destructive. The caterpillars still became butterflies. I found meaning and reassurance in natural patterns, in the ocean tides, the waves, the seasons. The smell of jasmine as I walked down the streets of Charleston, South Carolina, told me that the beauty is not that a creator being made all of this. It's that one did not. The fact that we exist at all, that's the true miracle. Charleston is such a beautiful city. I used to love going for walks and discovering hidden gems. One of my walks brought me to a little gateway that led down a path. Next to the gateway was a sign for the Unitarian Church in Charleston, and it listed the 7 principles. As I read through them, I remember checking them off like a list. Inherent worth and dignity of every person? Check. Justice, equity, and compassion? Check. Acceptance and encouragement to spiritual growth? Another check. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning? The right of conscience and use of the democratic process? Peace, liberty, and justice for all? Check, check, check. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence? Check again. This was a church? Huh? I remember bringing my roommate Karen to check out the sign because I thought it was just so interesting. A few months later, I had the opportunity to attend a service at that Unitarian church for the first time for a research project. I sat in a wooden pew and gazed through the stained glass windows out into the churchyard, notebook in hand. I listened to the sermon and felt a sense of peace. For the first time in my life, I felt that I was at home in a faith community and that I could bring my whole, questioning and confused self. Several years later, I graduated from college and moved to Pittsburgh. I struggled to find work and ended up at a restaurant right down the street, where I drove past Sunnyhill on Sunday mornings for my 6 a.m. shift. I always read the sign to see what the sermons were about, but couldn't quite make the timing work for my schedule and that phase of life. I liked knowing it was an option, though. A few years later, and my husband stumbled upon a job opening, completely at random, for the position of Director of Religious Education here at Sunnyhill, and urged me to apply. I don't recall much about that interview. It's a total blur. But I do remember leaving and saying to Denny McCracken, one of the committee members, that whether I got the job or not, I appreciated having a good chat with good people. I was thrilled when I got the phone call late on a Tuesday evening offering me the position, and kind of terrified. I didn't even know what I didn't know. I was later told that it was my willingness to learn that helped me win over the committee responsible for filling that position. I knew then that I was not accepting a job. I was beginning a new phase of life, and in order to be successful, I had to fully embrace what was to come. I was so nervous to start. I was 25 years old, a mom to a 1.5-year-old. What the heck did I know about how to lead an RE program? Would people take me seriously? Where do I even start? I was taken in by this congregation in a way that I did not expect, and for that, I am so grateful. It's not that it was always easy. It wasn't. It still isn't. But it was always worth it. This month, I celebrate 10 years since I stepped into Sunnyhill for the first time and began my service to this congregation. 10 years. That's mind-boggling to me. In that time, I've continued to raise my son, Jack. I also brought Benjamin, who's now 8, into the world. My kids have only known me professionally as the DRE at Sunnyhill. I've taken countless classes and trainings. I can't begin to estimate how many RE classes I've led. I've helped to bring OWL, the sexuality education program, to youth, and I've heard firsthand accounts about how those youth end up being the resource for their peers once they hit college. I've expanded our coming-of-age course and brought teens to Boston and DC, where they have had the opportunity to grow their Unitarian Universalist roots both deep and wide. I've been challenged, creatively, personally, professionally. I've questioned if I'm the right person for this job, if I'm educated enough, aware enough. Imposter syndrome has followed me at every turn, bubbling up as soon as I feel settled. But then, there have been these moments of clarity, of calm, of pure joy, of serendipity, of purpose, of learning or laughter, of growth, moments that awaken my mind and my senses. One of the things I appreciate most about Unitarian Universalism is the focus on the individual journey to achieve collective liberation. We all start at different places. We all go separate ways on the path, and we hope to leave the road in which we have traveled cleaner, greener, and kinder. Though we're on these separate life journeys, we gather here, together, again and again. I like to tell our coming-of-age youth that their credo statements are a snapshot of who they are today. I can clearly see who I was at different stages of my life and how my personal credo statement would have been a reflection of that person. As a child, I felt lost and confused, not quite able to understand how the God I was taught to pray to didn't quite show up in my life. As a teen, there was more frustration than confusion. I was convinced that the God of my childhood didn't exist. As a young adult, I learned more and more about religions and gods, and as I did, so did my anger with religion. As long as suffering existed, God could not. It was not until I found that sign in front of the pathway leading to the Unitarian Church that I could fathom a faith community where I could find belonging. And now, after 10 years of singing hymns with all of you here at Sunnyhill, of showing up for collective action, of hanging out with some of the most brilliant children and youth, of sharing stories and lessons, and of being in community at Sunnyhill, I'm again at a life stage that I can specifically point to how my personal credo reflects who I am as an individual. In honor of the many 8th and 9th graders who I've challenged to write their own credos over the last 10 years, I felt compelled to write my own. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Octavia Butler. Octavia Butler was a science fiction writer working in the 80s and 90s. Her transformative works, like Parable of the Sower, are just as relevant today as when they were written. Adrienne Marie Brown is a social justice facilitator, healer, and thinker that has taken inspiration from Octavia Butler's written work to inform something called emergent strategy. While Adrienne Marie Brown's focus has been on collective action, several of the principles of emergent strategy hold a particular meaning for me at this life stage, and I will be going into more detail about the natural elements that showcase how they work. I won't be quoting Adrienne Marie Brown all morning, though I could. But reading her work and following her has given me the vocabulary to describe the components of the natural world that are resonating with me. Those components include fractals, interdependence, resilience. Fractals. A fractal is a natural pattern that continues on and on. Spirals, fingerprints, galaxies, snowflakes, ferns, roots, veins, lightning. Once you start looking, you find fractals everywhere. Whether you're looking at it up close or far away, the pattern is the same. Fractals are found in nature, in humans and other animals, in sound, in space, in art. Adrienne Marie Brown writes, "My life is a miracle that cannot be recreated. I can never get these hours, weeks, years back. In a fractal conception, I'm a cell-sized unit of the human organism, and I have to use my life to leverage a shift in the system by how I am as much as with the things I do. This means actually being in my life, and it means bringing my values into my daily decision-making. Each day should be lived on purpose." Grace Lee Boggs said, "Transform yourself to transform the world." I've often been frustrated with social justice work. I want the world to be a better place now, not tomorrow. I want a just and compassionate, beloved community now. I've also been bogged down by inaction. It all seems too big to make a difference. The challenges facing us right now are just massive. What can I do to have any impact at all? What fractals show me is that we each have more power than we realize. Find your power. Use it for good. Someday, that means watering my flowers, being present with my children. Other days, it involves making connections with community leaders or working among other Sunnyhillers on a service or a justice project. We each have a role to play in the future we are creating. We do not need to be a politician, to be wealthy, to be famous, to make a difference. Focus on small actions that make a difference to those in your life and in your community. Our choices reverberate into the world like the wings of a butterfly, impacting those around us. Interdependence. Interdependence is the relationship between things. It's how organisms, animals, plants, humans rely on one another to survive. The natural world shows us instances of interdependence every single day. Step into a backyard in the summertime and watch the bees collecting pollen. It doesn't take much to find clues of how every living thing relies on something else to survive. This is true biologically, but also personally and spiritually. We are all in this together. In the words of Carissa Lewis, "In nature, everything works in collaboration. There are hummingbirds and flowers that are in such deep coordination they need each other for survival. How vibrant and alive and accessible can our movement be if we moved with such coordination and collaboration?" At General Assembly in Columbus, Ohio, several years ago, Dr. Glenn Thomas Rideout sang the gospel song, "I Need You to Survive," written by David Frazier. These words have stuck with me ever since. I need you. You need me. We are all part of God's body. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I believe that my survival is dependent on yours and mine, and our survival is wrapped up in the world around us. This means that we need to show up for each other. If we're in a place of privilege or power, it means using that role to lift the voices of those who have been marginalized in our society. Resilience. If you consider some of the most resilient species, the mighty oak and dandelions, they have intricate roots underground, deep in the earth. Oak trees stand tall and proud. They provide nourishment, refuge, and beauty. It's their roots, however, that fascinate me. The hardy roots of an oak tree burrow both deep and wide, with the roots of a mature oak tree often expanding over 75 feet. Even more interesting is what happens when oak trees grow together. The roots intertwine with one another, working together to build strength and resilience. Naima Penniman writes, "When Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast, almost everything lost its footing. Houses were detached from their foundations, trees and shrubbery were uprooted, signposts and vehicles floated down the rivers that became of the streets. But amidst the whipping winds and surging water, the oak tree held its ground. How? Instead of digging its root deep and solitary into the earth, the oak tree grows its roots wide and interlocks with other oak trees in the surrounding area. And you can't bring down 100 oak trees bound beneath the soil. How do we survive the unnatural disasters of climate change, environmental justice, over-policing, mass imprisonment, militarization, economic inequality, corporate globalization, and displacement? We connect in the underground. In this way, we shall survive." Dandelions are treated as a summertime nuisance, but they're actually really nutritious, packed with vitamins and minerals, and have been used for medicinal purposes for centuries. Their yellow flowers provide an early nectar for pollinators. They bring smiles to young children. No one typically complains when a dandelion is plucked from a yard. And they grow in the most challenging circumstances, often places where not much else can, in concrete cracks and brick walls. After providing their gifts, they fade and turn into soft white threads ready to be carried in the wind, only to stop and rest for a moment before beginning their journey again. Oak trees and dandelions might seem like complete opposites, one showing strength, the other seemingly fragile, and yet both are absolutely resilient. Our task is to dig our own roots deep down into the earth through finding our chosen families and creating home for loving fiercely and growing together. When challenges come our way, which they indefinitely will, learn from them. Like the oak, be open to move and change with the breeze as it blows through our limbs. Reach down to connect with those around us. Like the dandelion, keep growing. Others will try to remove us, not quite understanding our value. Know you have worth and keep going. And when this cycle of life has ended, the seeds of goodness that you started will continue to spread. Fractals, interdependence, resilience, each of these components separately offer meaning, but there's a thread that holds them together. My entire life, I found myself searching for God, searching for worth, searching for meaning, and the answer that I keep coming back to is simple: love. The fractals around us, from the shells of the snails on the ground to the spiraling galaxies overhead, remind me to love the community, love the world, and I show that love through small actions every single day. Interdependence reminds me to love the world and all of its creatures, because our survival is wrapped up in each other. And finally, the resilience of oak trees and dandelions remind me to love myself and my family. There have been certain people in my life that have shown me love when I felt that I was not worthy of it, starting with my grandparents, and then my husband. It is their love and support that has enabled me to learn to love myself. And when you love yourself, you can start to love the world. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. My time thus far at Sunnyhill has undoubtedly changed me. It has opened me up to possibilities and pathways that I did not even realize existed. It has awakened my senses and my mind so that I could locate my path here on this earth. What you believe matters. We don't collectively have a set credo or statement of faith. For Unitarian Universalists, it's not that simple. We have to find it ourselves. My UU story began when I stumbled upon that sign showing the 7 principles and continues today and will continue tomorrow. It has led me to a deep connection with the natural world. It has led me to leaning on examples of fractals, of interdependence, of resilience that are everywhere, and the love that holds me and all of us together. What do you set your heart to? What is your life's credo? Where do you find purpose? We ask this from our young teenagers in religious education classes, but it's pretty tough. It's a profound exercise for all. My challenge for you is to find it. Write it down even. Consider how your credo impacts your life and your choices. What seemingly insignificant events have changed the course of your life? Mine was going for a walk on a sunny day in Charleston, and that's what brought me here today. I've been inspired from fractals and butterflies, from the interdependent web, and from the resilience of oaks and dandelions. I found meaning in written words, like the works of Octavia Butler and Adrienne Maree Brown, as well as music, from gospel to folk rock. There's a teaching to be found in some of the most unexpected places. Be open to what it is telling you. The sense of community that I share with the dandelions and the oaks and the butterflies and the ferns and the grains of sand, and with these humans here today, gives me purpose and meaning. Where do you find yours? All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. Thank you for the opportunity to share my heart with you all this morning. I love you all and have such gratitude for this community. Thank you.
Please stay risen in body or spirit to sing our closing hymn, The Oneness of Everything. Far beyond the grasp of hands, of light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. There find the key to nature's harmony, in utter architecture so entwined. Like the birds whose patterns grace the sky, and carry all who join in love expanding. The message of peace will rise in flight, taking the weight of the world upon its wings. In the oneness of everything. Peace is in the dance of trees who stir before the first breath of wind is yet perceived. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Songs of life long past that touch our own are written in the earth, ever giving. And now to maintain the harmony, give to us all lives worth living. For the time and space, also overwhelming behind. All passing years just might I know the faith that winters in the heart to be reborn in spring, to hear and to feel the pulse of life enters my soul as a song to sing of the oneness of everything. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning. It's time for our morning offering. We don't have a designated offering this morning, so our collection will benefit Sunnyhill and help defray our day-to-day operating costs. If you'd like to make a gift via our online giving system, you can do so by going to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says Online Giving, then follow the instructions from there. Or you can give by text at 412-324-3130. Text the amount of your gift and the word pledge if you want to apply it toward your pledge, or special if there was a special designated offering. Otherwise, text gifts will go toward our general operating fund. You can also mail a check if you prefer. You can find our mailing list at sunnyhill.org. For those of you who are here in person, we'll pass around the basket in a moment, and thank you everyone for your generosity.
Everybody is wondering what and where we all come from. Everybody is worrying about where we're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say when it's gone, you're gone forever. Some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior if in sinful ways you lack. Some say that they're coming back in a garden, a bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Everybody is wondering what and where we all come from. Everybody is worrying about where we're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say they're going to a place called glory, and I ain't saying it ain't a fact. But I heard that I'm on the road to purgatory, and I don't like the sound of that. I believe in love, and I live my life accordingly. But I choose to let the mystery be. Everybody is wondering what and where we all come from. Everybody is worrying about where we're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. If you know the words, sing along. Everybody is wondering what and where we all come from. Everybody is worrying about where we're gonna go when the whole it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Think I'll just let the mystery be.
All right, so please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you, guys. Our closing words were written by Kathy A. Duff. Our time in this place may have ended, but our connection to each other and this community remains. Together, may we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, live the selfless deed, trod gently on our earth, fill the world with compassion. Until we meet once again, blessed be. Go in peace.